Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Gauranga Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hey.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare
Oh, Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, 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 oh. Nitai Gaur Hari Bho, Hari Bho, Hari Bho, Gaur Hari Bho. Nitai Gaur Hari Bho, Hari Bho, Hari Bho. Nitai Go Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Prabhupada
Jai Jai Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Prabhupada
Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Nitai Gaur Hari Bho Hari Bho Hari Bho Hari Bho. Gaur Premanandi Gaur Premanandi Gaur Premanandi. Jayam Vishnu Paramahansa Pariparajika Charya Sattar Sasisimam. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki. Jayam Vishnu Paramahansa Pariparajika Charya Sattar Sasisimam. His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki.
Jai.
Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki. Nama Charishal Hari Rasthagar Ki. Prem se kaho Sikh Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Swasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Kiri Govardhan Ki. Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki. Navadvip Maipuranam Ki. Ganga Mai Ki. Yamuna Mai Ki. Bhakti Devi Ki. Tulsi Devi Ki. Hari Naam Sankirtan Ki. Brihat Maratanga Ki. Samma Veda Bhakta Parinda Ki. All glories to the assembled devoted. Glories to the assembled devoted. Glories to the assembled devoted. Glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Namo
Vishnu. Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasata Dachatarine. Oh!
So we have Bhagavatam class now. No, come here forward.
Good morning, as they say. Good morning. Another day to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees. Okay, so Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janavallabha Giri Varahariya Jai Gopi Janavallabha Giri Varahariya Yasodhanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodhanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Jamuna Tira Hariya Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivardhariya. Who's that Gopi? Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivardhariya. Kisoranandana Raja Janaranjana Yasoranandana Raja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanitariam Jamuna Tira Vanitariam Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hey Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Tagore Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Tagore Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaur Hari Bol Shri Radha Shyam Sundar Ji ki Srimad Bhagavatam from the Bhagavatam. This is the consecutive verses that the temple has been following. So this is from Canto 4, Chapter 7, verse number 40. We have it on the boards. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Who knows the actual English translation for that chant? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Anyone want to take a guess? Prabhupada mentions it in his lectures. What Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya means in translation. Anybody wants to list? Yes, Maharaj. I offer my respectful obeisances to Vasudeva, the son of Vasudeva, who is the cause of all causes. Another translation I offered my respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Vasudeva, who is situated. And that particular chant was the Maha Mantra in the previous Yuga. They used to chant that as the Maha Mantra. Okay. Brahma Uvacha Namaste Srita Satvaya Dharmadinam Cha Sutaye Nirgunaya Cha Yajkastam Naham Veda Parapicha Brahma Uvacha Namaste Srita Satvaya Armadinam Cha Sutaye Nirgunaya Cha Yakastam Naham Veda Pare Picha. Check. Ladies? Okay, word for word. Brahma, the personified Vedas, Vacha, said, Namaha, respectful obeisances, everyone together, Te, unto you, Shrita Sapaya, the shelter of the quality of goodness, Dharma Adinam, all of religion, austerity, and penance, Cha, and Sutaye, the source, Nirgunaya, transcendental to material qualities, Cha, and Yat, of whom? Of the Supreme Lord, custom, the situation, Na, not, Aham, I, Veda, no, Apare, others, Api, certainly, Cha, and. So, the personified Vedas are called Brahma in this case. So, personified Vedas said, we offer our respectful obeisances unto you, the Lord, the shelter of the quality of goodness, therefore the source of their religion, austerity, and penance. For you are transcendental to all material qualities, and no one knows you or your actual situation. In the material world, there is the trinity of the three material qualities. Lord Vishnu has accepted the superintendence of the quality of goodness. So who has accepted the superintendence of the quality of virtue? And ignorance? Shiva. Now it doesn't mention that here. Vishnu is the superintendent of the quality of goodness. He's the source of religion, knowledge, austerity, renunciation, opulence, etc. Because of this, actual peace, prosperity, knowledge, and religion can be attained when the living entities are under the control of the quality of goodness. So here's the main point. Coming to the quality of goodness, and these qualities are characteristics which are conducive to devotional service, automatically follow. As soon as one is subjected to the control of the other two qualities, namely passion and ignorance, their precarious conditional life becomes intolerable. Lord Vishnu, in his original position, is always near Guna, which means transcendental to the material world. Guna means quality, and near means negation. So some people say, well, some so-called transcendentalists who are known as Mayavadis, they say, well, actually, Nirguna means no qualities, because Nir means not, and Guna means qualities. But the Acharyas who have studied the Vedas and understand things within the context of the Veda statements, they say that this refers to no material qualities. There's a difference between spiritual qualities and material qualities. Now, Prabhupada wants to qualify this, and he says, this does not indicate that Krishna has no qualities. He has transcendental qualities by which he appears and manifests his pastimes. Positive transcendental quality manifestation is unknown to the students of the Vedas, as well as to the great stalwart demigods, Brahma and Shiva. Actually, transcendental qualities are manifested only to the devotees. So we know more than Brahma and Shiva. Very well. At least that's what it says. Let's hope we can come to that stage of understanding Krishna's transcendental qualities, because they are actually the source of knowledge which brings us closer to Krishna. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, simply by discharging devotional service, one can understand the transcendental position of the Supreme. Those who are in the mode of goodness can partially enter into the transcendental understanding. But it is advised in Bhagavad Gita that one has to surpass this also in goodness. The Vedic principles are based on the three qualities of the material modes. One has to transcend these three qualities, and then one can be situated in pure and simple spiritual life. Vishnu Padaya Krishna Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavani Pasyatya Vaisataya Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we hear many times, get out of the lower modes. Hare Bol. The lower modes keep you from understanding the nature of the transcendence, which is the goal, to understand that, to a point where you can become fully enthused in his devotional service. So these three modes, the mode of ignorance is the lowest of all modes. And what is the characteristic of the mode of ignorance? Of course, there's many qualities attached to it, but the basic thing, it is destructive. You want to give it one title. It's destructive to those who perform it, and it's destructive to those who are affected by it, by others who perform it. It is considered to be sinful. Madness, intoxication, excess, laziness. Prabhupada was talking about laziness, where devotees were actually asking Prabhupada about lazy. Someone said to Prabhupada, is laziness a demoniac quality? And Prabhupada said, it's lower. And he tried to figure that one out, how it's lower than. So it says, even in the material world, people who are lazy are rejected by others. Nobody likes a lazy person. Prabhupada tells the story of the lazy man. No one's actually lazy when their self-interest is at heart. So the one story where one minister is working underneath his king, and they're very charitable. Anyone in the where the king rules, his ruling area, if they want some food, they can come automatically, they will be given food. So the minister says, it's becoming a problem, everyone's coming. So the king says, all right, now, only those who are lazy, they can come and get food, no one else. Only lazy people. So they had a house that were housing all the ladies. And fast, it filled up. It was fully filled. And then the minister said to the king, it's completely full. We don't have any more room, and there's more lazy people. So then the king said, all right, now set the house on fire. So he did. And everybody ran out, and except two people. One guy said to the other, hey, it's getting really hot in here. The other one said, don't worry, just turn over on the other side. And then the minister reported that to the king. King said, you can feed these two. They're actually lazy. So when it comes to one's personal self-interest and laziness disappears. Well, in Krishna consciousness, laziness is considered to be something that we completely want to reject. But devotees are never lazy, but we're more enthusiastic for certain activities and less enthusiastic for other activities. But that actually is a defect. All of the activities in devotional service are transcendental. No matter what you do, as long as it's connected to the process of bhakti, in other words, according to the desire of the spiritual master, according to the desire of the elected officials, that's transcendental, no matter what it is. Sweeping the floor, cleaning the temple, fixing the bus. It's all part of devotional service. So it's all transcendental. But we might see, oh, this activity is nice, this is not so nice. That is a material concept. If it's in relationship devotional service, it has the full potency of giving the devotee a connection with Krishna through the activity immediately, no matter what the activity is. Because it's devotional service that satisfies the Lord, and not so much the activity, the mood of devotional service. But here it's mentioned that there are three modes. So the mode of ignorance is laziness, sleep, intoxication, and just sinful activities. The mode of passion is selfish. Those in the mode of passion, they're always trying to gain some material benefit. So they work hard many times in order to enjoy some kind of result from their work, either directly or less direct. Less direct means they get something and they use that to use it for sense gratification, such as money. I work real hard so I can get money, and money is just a means so I can use it to satisfy my senses in different ways. Or there's others who connect with the process of passion and immediately try to enjoy sense gratification by connecting with the objects of the senses. So there's two aspects to the mode of passion, direct or indirect, or less direct means of, but the goal is the same, sense gratification, or selfishness. So in the mode of, therefore it says that there's only one good quality in the mode of passion, and that is, who can guess? One good quality in the mode of passion. And just think about the mode of passion, what the activities are. Yeah, hardworking, but what is the characteristic that benefits both the person and someone else? Yeah, exactly. Creativity. Those who are in a mode of passion, they can be very creative. And so if they offer that creative activity to Krishna, they can purify that selfishness. Now, otherwise, the mode of passion is selfish. The mode of goodness is selfless. It's about developing those qualities that are of the nature of people who are of the human race. In other words, good qualities. Knowledge, peacefulness. I mean, there's a whole list. Austerity, penances, humility, simplicity, cleanliness. These are all of the qualities of the mode of goodness. Prabhupada was talking about the mode of goodness. And he was mentioning these different qualities. And Prabhupada was pretty much rejecting the idea that the mode of goodness is the goal. He said it's a stepping stone for going to a higher stage, which is using those qualities in the service of the Lord, and then they become transcendental, and that's bhakti. Now Prabhupada's talking, and he's saying, and one devotee says, well, actually, in the mode of goodness, there's knowledge. No, actually, in the mode of goodness, there's happiness. Happiness, yeah. There's some happiness in the mode of goodness. And Prabhupada said, yes, but in the mode of goodness, there's knowledge also. And that knowledge teaches there's no happiness. So sometimes we think, oh, I made it, I'm a good guy. I give in charity. I think about the welfare of others. I open hospitals. I feed the poor. I do all kinds of, welfare work for the society. I'm a nice person. But as long as the quality is within the characteristic of the modes, it is not stable. When things change, then all of a sudden, when the modes shift, then one's good qualities may also shift. Like Prabhupada says, people like to do things good for other people, but when it comes to animals, they see it differently. So that's a defect in the idea of goodness, because seeing each living entity as part and parcel of Krishna, to know the distinction, how to do good, or doing good to other living entities. So that includes all living entities, not just humans. So that kind of goodness is rejected by knowledge, by scripture, because it's motivated by personal interest. Therefore, it breaks down. But here, it's emphasized that one should come to the mode of good. Even Krishna told that to Arjuna. Although Arjuna was a fighter, he had to fight. And to fighting, you have to be in the mode of passion, or at least exhibit qualities of the mode of passion in order to fight. But Krishna told him you have to come to the mode of goodness, and then you can actually come to the point of transcendence. So these qualities of the mode of goodness are, we can say, the qualities of the Brahma, and that's mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. So they're conducive to higher consciousness. They're conducive to engage in devotional service. But if one gets stuck there, and then that's many people, not devotees, but people in general, they think, oh, I'm a nice person. I give so many things in charity to other people. I don't do anything harmful to others. They start to line up all of their so-called activities, and they say, I'm a nice person. But nice person doesn't really get you anything more than another birth in this material world. And you have to, again, go through the whole cycle. And so as long as one is still connected with these material modes of nature, the Imaya the Vase, Kacho Bese, Kacho Ha Bubu Duwai, and one has to revolve in the cycle of birth and death, life after, even in the mode of goodness. It might be a nice person, but Prabhupada said, even just like sometimes we read, okay, it says, if I don't finish, in other words, I don't reach perfection in this life, I get a good birth in my next life, and I can continue, and I can go on to. But Prabhupada shoots that whole thing down. He says, whatever stops you in this life will be there in your next life. So why try to get rid of it later? Get rid of it now. In other words, there is no guarantee that in the next life you'll also be able to come to the standard. So Prabhupada said, become Krishna conscious now. Sometimes people mistakenly think, if I get this, I'll become Krishna conscious. If I get this situation, I get this person, I get this facility, then I'll become Krishna consciousness. But all of these are just ways to divert one's attention to the real goal, because Krishna consciousness is now. You can't wait till later, because postponing it means to postpone it. The more we postpone it, the more we postpone it, based on the different ideas that I have to have certain material situations in order to practice Krishna consciousness. Therefore, it says, no, the only qualification is the desire to serve. And one can serve in any situation. So in the mode of ignorance, a person thinks, if I can get this, then I can do this, and then I can, what is it? No, if I can, let me think how this goes. I can get, if I can get, then I can do, then I can, it's the last one. Get, do, I forgot. Well, the mode of goodness is if I can get this, then I can do this, and I can be something. I can be like this. Get, do, and be. The mode of passion is if I can do something, then I can get something, and I can be something. And the mode of goodness is if I can be something, then I can do something, and then I can get something. So you see how these three things change according to the consciousness or the activities of the mode. So devotee is not trying to get anything. They're trying to engage in devotional service because they know by engaging in devotional service, all my desires can automatically fill. We don't have to try to satisfy our desires separately from devotional service. I see that sometimes. Sometimes devotees come to me saying, I need this, I have to have this, I need this position. Then I can be more serious in my Krishna consciousness. No. Become serious now, and by Krishna's arrangement, when Krishna sees, oh, this devotee is serving me nicely, then Krishna says, oh, all right, if they need this, and Krishna reciprocates. He fulfills even our material desires or things that we need to stabilize our life without having to go separately, stay in devotional service. I told one devotee he was looking for a wife. And he was just looking. And he found one girl that didn't work. Another one, same situation. Third one, missed again. So I told him, just stop looking, engage in devotional service. And he did. And finally he listened to me. And then a girl appeared. Now it's working nicely. So when he was serving nicely, Krishna said, all right, I know the one you're looking for. Here she is. So it worked. So, and this is a nice, interesting point, because we don't have to go outside of devotional service to fulfill our needs. Automatically, Krishna is the source of everything. And when if he wants, Prabhupada used to say, Krishna can give you the whole world if he wants to. You have to be qualified to receive it. He told us when we were beginning our Krishna consciousness back in the 70s, he said, we can take over the whole world in 18 days, but you're not ready. So we're still trying to get ready. So the point is that Krishna is the supreme success in all activities, both material and spiritual. We don't have to think in terms of material. All we have to do is find a way to get fixed in our devotional service and execute. And when Krishna sees, oh, this devotee is serious, he's trying to serve me nicely. Oh, they need this? All right. So Krishna's like that. He'll give you. And just like, no, I don't want to use this example. That's too personal. I'll tell you that later. Anyway, I have so many experiences where I had to stop trying to get things and just engage in devotional service, and automatically those things came just by Krishna's arrangement. So he's very kind. He likes to serve his devotees. Prabhupada used to say, my father would tell me, what can you give with 2 hands that Krishna's holding with 10, and what can you hold in 2 hands that Krishna's giving you with 10? Krishna can give he can give you the whole world. Of course he doesn't. He only gives you what you can actually use in your life. He doesn't give you more. Sometimes he does give you more, so he knows, all right, you may be able to use it to preach, to spread Krishna consciousness. But Krishna's always supplying everything we need directly through the process of bhakti He does it through the different channels. His energies work. Parasya Sakti Vihaya Suyate Swabhavika Jnana Balakriya Cha. Automatically, his energies do everything. And Krishna just indicates to the energy, all right, give him this. Okay, and it happens. It's not even a time period. It just happens instantly. So the point is that we don't need to make any separate endeavor for whatever we need in life. Everything can be found in the process of devotional service. Of course, in our back of our mind, we're also thinking, I want to do this, I have to get this, I want this situation. You know, we project. We can plan like that, but we should know that we can't make it happen. Only when Krishna says, all right, we can try to make it happen. Sometimes we push, and then we get something, but it doesn't give us what we're looking for. Because we usually don't really know what we need. What we need is actually our relationship with Krishna. And that comes by, of course, serving the Lord, by serving the Lord's devotees. We're on the bus tour now. You're all very much packed up together. You're kind of like now you have to see you're surrounded by so many others. So what is the mood? How can I serve the other devotees? And if you start serving the other devotees, you'll get so many things automatically, because by service, everything comes to you. You were telling me last night, one man, he says, the money you keep, you lose, but the money you give away, you get. Does that make sense? No. So how does that work? That when you give something away, it comes back. And when you try to keep it, generally, it becomes difficult to keep it. And many times, time or situations cause us to lose it. That's the whole process of life. The more we serve, the more we gain. But we don't serve to gain, we serve to please, we serve to satisfy others, but it all happens automatically. People in the material world, they don't understand. They think the more you get. I was just last night, we were looking, myself and Gopal Hari, on the left of John D. Rockefeller, one of the richest persons in the world. And this is going back to the 1920s. He had amassed a fortune of $340 billion worth of assets. In other words, he had so much wealth. He was controlling so many corporations and so many oil industries. He had so much. But at the age of 53, he came down with a terminal disease. 53. At the prime of his life, when he's now enjoying, at least trying to enjoy everything. And the doctor said, there's nothing we can do. You only have at most 1 year to live. That's about it. So now he's miserable. The wealthiest man in the world, he couldn't even eat. All he could eat was some liquor, some very simple soup and some crackers. That was all he could eat before he could have anything. So he's now thinking about his situation. So now he calls all of his secretaries, his, colleagues and everything who work under him, and he starts a big charitable program. He starts funding medical institutions. He starts giving away to different charities. In other words, he's just using all of his wealth for philanthropy, for charity, for everything. And all of a sudden, everything changed. Everything changed. After some time, his health started to come back. After a year, which he was supposed to leave the body, he was still there. And he continued to live to 97 years old. Krishna extended his life 44 years. And he understood it was God's mercy. Because I used what God gave me for the benefit of others, God gave me a life. He said that. So this was interesting. This was one of the greatest philanthropists, greatest, wealthiest persons in the world. And he, he couldn't even enjoy anything. But then when he gave it away, he became the happiest person. So this is the mood of a devotee. How can I serve? The devotee always thinks, how can I serve? Not how can I enjoy Krishna consciousness. You can enjoy Krishna consciousness when you serve. When the mood of service becomes prominent, and then the happiness in Krishna consciousness becomes unlimited. And then we can use our abilities, our talents, whatever Krishna has given us to serve, and then those qualities become even more. There was one devotee, he was a disciple of His Holiness Radha Swami. He was in India. He was a wealthy person, and at one point he started to use his wealth to support different projects. And he was traveling around the world. He had businesses in different countries, and then he told me personally. He said, ever since I started to give in charity to different programs, my business increased 8-fold. He didn't make any investments. All he did was give away his money to the devotional projects around the world. So it's like that. Krishna says, oh, you use your money for me? All right, I'll give you more. You use your time for me? I'll give you more time. You use your abilities for me? Those will increase. So that's how bhakti works. The materialists always think, let me control, let me somehow or other use my whatever intelligence I have to get more and more for myself. And there's people who are so greedy. They have so much and they just want more. They're never satisfied. But the devotee is simply satisfied by serving, because service goes right to the heart, pleases the Lord. The devotee becomes happy simply by serving. And if we serve the Vaishnavas, that's the highest form of service. As Krishna says, it's mentioned in the Adi Purana. It's a statement by the Supreme Lord. He says, those who say they're my devotees are not my devotees, but those who say they're the devotees of my devotees are actually my devotees. So the more we become the servant of Krishna's devotees, the more we actually become the servant of Krishna. Because Prabhupada uses the example of a big man who has everything. So you try to give him something, but what can you give him? He has everything. But he has a son, so you give his son a little something, you make the boy happy. You give him a lollipop or a little toy, the boy's happy. The father becomes, oh, you're so nice. He rewards you, or you give something to my son, you made him happy. So his love, so Krishna loves his devotees, says, my devotees are more important than me. I will sacrifice everything for my devotees. So when someone serves his devotees, they're actually doing the best service for Krishna. And that's the mood that's so much prominent in the Shastras. Gopi Pate Pade Kamalayor, Das, and Das. Lord Chaitanya made that statement. He rejected the whole Varnashram system as being external, and he came to the point of identifying himself as the servant of the servant of the servant of the gopis in Vrindavan. Of course, he's in the mood of Gopi Bhav because he has the internal mood of Radharani, but he's giving the point that simply to become servant of the servant of this. And Prabhupada says, 100 times removed. The more you become servant, the more you become glorious in the eyes of the Lord. We don't care what people say, because people will criticize and say things according to their own understanding. But whatever pleases Krishna, and that pleases Krishna the most, could become to serve his devotees and make the devotees benefited by your service. Not just serve It's like some people say, well, I'll serve the way I want to serve. No, you try to find out how best to serve, and that way that becomes the ideal way to offer service. And the spiritual master, those who are in the position to give direction to others, if we please them, they are the representatives of the spiritual master or the spiritual master himself. Then that goes all the way up to Krishna. Krishna's please. So here, the mode of goodness allows one to have the qualities that are conducive to the execution of devotional service. And then, when they're used in the service of the Lord, they become Sudasattva, or transcendental. They actually take on the qualities of pure devotional service. As Krishna says to Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be known as I am, standing before you, and thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you understand the mysteries of my existence. So Krishna says, yeah, devotional service is everything. So we've been benefit. How many people actually get a chance to engage in devotional service? Very few. Only very few, and they're considered to be fortunate, or they're the most intelligent. Why? Because they understand what is the goal of life. Goal of life is to ultimately come back to our position of an eternal servant of Krishna and qualify to again return back to the spiritual world where there is no politics, no sociology, no ecology movements. Everything is pure transcendental happiness, all centered around service to the Supreme Lord and to the residents of the spiritual world. That's the goal. We may like it here, but if you like it here, after some time you won't like it here. It's just like that. We like certain situations, but you may be in a good position to not feel the pains of material existence, but they're always there. As long as we have this material body, Prabhupada said, to have a material body, it's a bad bargain. It's like if you go to shopping and you buy the wrong thing, and it says, no refund. Can't turn it in. So if you use the material body, which is a bad bargain, in the service of the Lord, it becomes what we say, an opportunity to experience transcendental happiness. So it has value, especially the human form. And the human form of life is very, very rare. Very rare. It's to get a human body, as it says, it's most rare. 8,400,000 species, 400,000 are humans, but out of those 400,000, very few are actually civilized. So, and to be born in India means to get a higher birth. That means you're on the precept, or you're on the precipice of making one more step to perfection. But of course, now, because of Prabhupada's mercy, Lord Chaitanya's mercy, he's making it available to anyone who follows the process. And what is the process? Satatam kirtayantam, to glorify the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Prabhupada said, 16 rounds, why not 16,000 rounds? He says, when you're chanting and you're actually experiencing the happiness of chanting, you just don't want to stop. Just want to keep chanting. And that happiness is available for those who make the chanting of the holy name the most important part of their practice in Krishna consciousness. Because that's the essence. Lord Chaitanya has put everything in that Maha Mantra. Everything is there. All of the energies, Nija Sarva Shaktis, the entire spiritual world is there in the name of Krishna, non-different. And when it's done with mantra, then it actually goes directly to the spiritual world. In other words, go locate a Premadana Harinam Sankirtan. So we're taking it. How do you worship the Lord? You take what he gives you and you give it back to him. It's like they say, if you want to worship the Ganga, people who worship the Ganges, what do? They go to the banks of the Ganges in a very prayerful mood, and they scoop up some Ganges water. They hold it, they chant some mantras, and then they pour the water back into the Ganges, and that's the offering. So Krishna's giving us his name. We take it, and we chant with as much devotion as we can, much attention as we can, and we offer it back to Krishna. That becomes the highest form of service. Taking what Krishna gives you and just offering it back. Therefore, Krishna consciousness is really simple. All right, I'm going to ask you a question. Ready? Okay, here's one question I'm going to ask. Is Krishna, Prabhupada mentions this point, is Krishna consciousness difficult or is Krishna consciousness easy? Okay? Sometimes we hear both of them. So let's see. Let me find out what the general populace says here. How many of you say it's difficult? Raise your hand. Okay. All right. Pretty good number. How many of you say it's easy? Okay, the easy people seem like they're outnumbered the difficult people. So what is it? Both. But there is a factor that changes difficult to easy. What is that? It's one word. Starts with a D. Starts with a D. Determination. One who executes the Krishna consciousness with determination, it's easy. One who doesn't, so hard. But then you might say, I don't have any determination. Where do I find it? There you go. So the next point is to get it. Prabhupada used to say, sometimes someone would say to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I don't have any intelligence. Prabhupada said, then get some. Don't complain you don't have it. It's available. So by associating with people who are determined, it's like you're with Bhakti Marg Swami Maharaj. So he's fixed and he's determined. I mean, he takes on great austerities just to show the example of how a devotee is willing to make so many sacrifices just to preach. So if you associate with Bhakti Marg Swami, you get determination automatically because simply by association, that association rubs off. There's an old saying, tell me who you associate with and I'll tell you who you are. So we get an opportunity to associate with great souls. That is the key to what we say, making the whole process easy. And then it's more like instead of what you're struggling to achieve, it becomes automatically by that association. Now, how do you associate? To hear from such persons and to look for opportunities to serve them. That is the association. And another way to increase determination or to get determination is stop trying to enjoy this material world. Because as long as that factor is still there, we cannot be determined in Krishna consciousness. Because trying to enjoy this material world is like trying to catch smoke. You ever try to catch smoke? It's floating in the air. Where'd it go? I had it. I see it. It's gone. So it looks good, but it's not. It's just a show. This whole material world is like a show. It's like a what we call a. It's not a satire. It's more like a melodrama. It's a bad bargain. So when we simply still try to enjoy this material world, the determination for Krishna consciousness doesn't awaken. So we say, all right, I know there's no happiness here, and therefore I'm going to focus on Krishna. And even though I have so many desires that are still out there in that material world, I'm going to forget about them. I'm going to serve Krishna. I'm going to serve his devotees. I'm going to read the books. I'm going to chant Hare Krishna. I'm going to use my life to do something to preach Krishna consciousness. And then the Krishna says, finally you woke up. Okay, stay awake. Okay, so questions? Maharaj, you have your hand up. We have you can use this microphone.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. It's very inspiring what you had to say. I have a poem here, and it's about the modes of material nature. It's called Three Energies. It'll just take 2 minutes.
It says it's called what? Three
Energies.
Energies. It's a poem.
Yep.
You wrote it.
About the three guna.
No wonder.
Here we are. There are 3 energies affecting us all, as real and organic as nature's call. They are at play practically all the time, like wind, rain, moon, and sunshine. They influence our mood, action, and thought. If we analyze them, it can help us a lot. Let us explore the names of these energies and come to grips with their bold tendencies. The first one is sattva, its Sanskrit name. It is positive power we should welcome and aim. The special feature here is to be very mindful, sensitive, patient, rational, thoughtful. The next energy goes by the name Rajas, a power that seems to always embrace us, characterized by passion, restlessness, speed. The aligned sex impulse can push us to greed. Finally, we arrive at the trait called tamas, known typically by the element of darkness.
Heartlessness.
Darkness. Lethargy, inertia, slowness contribute to being dull. Productivity and intelligence are almost void and null. Turning the world around, hidden or in our face, these 3 psychophysical energies do have a place. Rajas is necessary to build or to produce a baby. Harness it, channel it, or we'll go somewhat crazy. With tamas, we sleep. Rajas, we work hard. With sattva, we regulate and show we are smart. It becomes a concert, a good balancing act. With this trio, you can approach life with tact. These 3 get highly competitive, so keep an eye. I believe you know what to prioritize and why. Filter all decision-making through the mode of sattva. Then rajas and tamas will fall where they ought to. Hare Krishna.
That was beautiful. You just wrote that now?
No. Last year.
Last night.
I'll give you this a gift. Copy of the poems.
Maharaj is a 26 quality of a Vaishnava. One is a poet, very poetic. Oh, it's a book already. Yeah, the Walking Monk, Part 2.
I'm just a mirage, not a Maharaj.
I remember I read the first book you wrote, and I was thinking, wow, that's nice. Is he going to do more? I guess. Let's see. I notice every time you, on the Vyas Puja offerings to Srila Prabhupada, you always write a poem. It's good. That's what we want. When you case something in some ornamental language and you think about it, it actually goes deeper. The words actually have more of a meaning in relationship to the other words. You can think about it, and then you can reflect on it, and you can see how you can understand it and use it in your own life. Poetry is beautiful. I have a devotee who's a poet. He writes poetry all the time. He sends it to me. So I just collect all his poems. I don't do poetry, I do rhyme. When you want to hear one of my rhymes? Okay. Yeah. His name is Balarama. He's better than Obama. What to speak of Osama? He'll take all your karma and bring you to the holy Dhamma on the ultimate parikrama. Jai Balarama. Yeah, I don't know much about poetry. I just play around with rhyme. One more. Read the creed. Read the creed, get up to speed. That's the need, take the lead. You'll be happy indeed. And the last one is not for devotees. Stop smoking the weed. That's the last one. I collect them, but I haven't made them public. Chant the holy name. It's the winning game. You'll never be the same. If you don't listen to me, it's a shame. So it's kind of like deadbeat poetry. It's a little bit like the New York style. It's somewhat critical also at the same time. Yeah. So I keep a diary, and every night before I end the day, I write something. And sometimes I can't think of anything to write. Usually I reflect on the day's activities, and so I'll put together some rhyme, and that will be the entry for that day. So. In the internal.
But what does it mean to be satisfied or experience contentment here in the material world serving Krishna's devotees? Like, what does it mean to be happy in Krishna consciousness?
It's the element of bhakti, is that as soon as you do something on the level of spiritual practice, you're connecting with the higher energy. That's the spiritual energy, and it has no inebrities in there. The energy itself creates satisfaction, peacefulness, and the deeper you go into it, and then it gets higher and higher. Then you experience happiness, joy, what we say, ecstasy. It just keeps going higher. But the basic principle is satisfaction. We become satisfied just by engaging in service. Why? Because our nature is to serve. The soul, or even the mind and body, cannot get away from service. In this world, we serve our friends, family members of society, teachers. We're always serving something, someone. And then Srila Prabhupada said, even if you're not serving anything, you keep an animal, a dog, a rabbit, a chipmunk, a possum, and then you serve that. Everyone has to serve. But So a lot of it, it's directed to what I can get from the service. But in devotional service is what can I do to please the object of my service? The mood changes from selfish motivation to selfless motivation. And that's automatically satisfaction. You become satisfied simply by serving. It's not, you don't have to try to figure it out how to become satisfied. It happens automatically. Someone asked Prabhupada, how do we know if Krishna is pleased by our service? Good question, right? How do we know that Krishna is pleased? And Prabhupada said, you become pleased. Because he said, you're connected to Krishna. You're part and parcel of Krishna. So when he's pleased, you automatically feel satisfied and pleased also. That's an indication that your service was accepted. In other words, it was pleasing. If you don't feel like that, that means there's something about the service that was not done right, or maybe the motivation wasn't right. But if you try to serve for the sake of pleasing the object of your service, you'll always be satisfied. A lot of times people serve so they can get something from the service. And that makes the satisfaction less. When you serve for the sake of pleasing the object of your service or doing something beneficial to that person or to that object you're serving, automatically you feel satisfied. It's automatic.
So when Srila Prabhupada mentions that the material world is filled with suffering, is he just strictly referring to when one is not engaging in service to devotees?
Yeah, when we're trying to enjoy the objects of this material world, these objects have two qualities about it. One, you may get some satisfaction from that, or you may get some suffering from it, because this world is the world of duality. And even if you get some satisfaction, that same thing turns into suffering later, because it changes or you lose it, either one. People, sometimes they want something, they can't get it, they're unhappy. They want something, they get it, and it doesn't give them the happiness they were expecting. Or they want something, they get it, they get some happiness, but then time takes it away. So there's the suffering in all activities of the material world. It always ends in something, some pain, some disappointment, some discontent, or some desire to try again in a different way, try to, improve. So the material world is people are always trying to adjust the material energy to make it work in such a way that they can find some satisfaction. But we can't adjust that material energy because it works under Krishna. Krishna says, Maya dakshena prakriti suyate sachirachara. This energy works under my control, not under your control. Daiviyesha gurumayi. It's spiritual. So happiness is on the spiritual platform, not on the material platform. Some satisfaction may come by material activities, but time will always change the whole situation around. Just the way it is. You love that person so much, but after some time, that person does something and it makes you unhappy. Or that person goes away, or you go away, or the relation ends due to the end of the body. So what was there as a source of happiness later becomes a source of suffering. Just the way material energy is constituted. And Krishna has arranged that so we don't try to stay here and try to enjoy. He puts the material energy in such a way that we can't enjoy it, and then we get frustrated. Then we look, maybe I can enjoy in a different way. Then where can I find that enjoyment? And then that begins to search for something higher, something better. Does that help a little? Thank you. Good question.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I actually had a question about rendering service to devotees, to Vaishnavas. I was wondering what will happen if we try to render service to them like materially by trying to
What will happen if we try to do?
service to them in a material way, like when we try to satisfy their senses. For example, like when we cook something that they like that is delicious, or when we buy them a dress that they like, or something like that.
Well, that goes on. People do that all the time. People do something for someone else, and they feel some happiness in that. But it doesn't reach the heart. It stimulates the mind. That's all. Bhakti reaches the heart, and where the soul is actually located. So people do that all the time. They did a survey in America where they wanted to find out who are the happiest people. And then after 1 year of collecting information, they came up with the conclusion that the happiest people they have two qualities. They're very busy and active, and they like to do good to others. So even on a material world level, there is some happiness in that, but it doesn't stand the test of time. It changes. But whatever you do in Krishna consciousness, you're actually building your spiritual consciousness in such a way that your happiness is actually expanding. Rupa Goswami describes the different stages of bhakti, and as one progresses, the happiness also increases to higher and higher. And then when it comes to the highest stage, one is in total transcendental happiness. In other words, there's nothing else to achieve. So in the material world, yeah, you'll see that. People do something for another person, they feel some happiness. They have some affection for their family members, friends, people in general. And they do something, they feel some satisfaction. But how long does that last? And will you be able to continue to do that? Usually, situations change. People also change. And then what works at one time doesn't work at another time. So in the material world, it's just risky. Everything is risky. Spiritually, even if you don't do the service to the perfection, in other words, even if you do make mistakes in your service, if you're sincerely trying to serve, that's considered to be success. That's bhakti. Krishna doesn't so much see the activity, he sees the mood. He looks for the mood. What you're trying to achieve or what you're trying to do when you serve. So our mood is, let me try to do it in order to please Krishna, please the spiritual master, please the devotees. And then that's always perfect, even if there's some less quality in the activity. It's what the mood is, what is bhakti is the mood. But in the material world, everything has to be done right. If you're going to cook something for somebody and you have some affection for them, and if it doesn't come out right, then they're not happy because it's based on, getting it right according to their standards. So material things are ephemeral. They don't touch the heart. They just maybe stimulate the mind and then they're gone. It's just as fast as they come. And then people have to continue to think, how can I do something good? And they try to string a whole bunch of good ideas. And that may go on for some time, but then after a while, everything changes. Even the greatest philanthropist, after a while, becomes frustrated because he's trying to do something. That statement was there in the Bhagavatam, King Nirga. He was a great king. He was very charitable. He would give as many cows as he could to different Brahmins. He was very charitable. And then one day he gave 1,000 cows to one Brahmin, and then he gave another Brahmin another 1,000 cows. But the first Brahmin, one of the cows went out of his herd into the second Brahmin's herd, and then they were fighting over whose cow it was. He gave it to me. No, actually, he gave it to me. So they came back to Nirga, and they wanted him to make the decision. He couldn't understand, so he said, I'll give you both more cows. They said, no, the property of a Brahmin is the Brahmin's property. This cow belongs to me. The other one said, no, this cow belongs to me. So because he tried to do welfare work, he didn't. So he was forced to get a reaction. He had to take birth as a lizard for one life. So that's charitable work, welfare work in the material world is fraught with, if something goes wrong, then one gets a reaction for that. But if something goes wrong in trying to serve Krishna, it doesn't really come in the form of, no, we would try to do everything nice, but even if it goes wrong, if you're sincerely trying, just like one time one girl was cooking chapatis for Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada would eat the chapati. She would in the kitchen and she would make the chapati and then they would run the chapati to Prabhupada. But she was so enthusiastic that she was burning the chapatis. And Prabhupada was eating them one after another. He liked it. Why? Because he was tasting her bhakti. Her bhakti was, what he was actually experiencing. And even though her chapatis weren't up to the standard, still Prabhupada enjoyed them. So it's like that. Well, what's the example? Krishna. Duryodhana said to Krishna, I want to have a wonderful festival in your honor. You're going to be the guest of honor and have a great celebration. So please come tonight to my place. So he made this grand celebration, the best cooks, dancers, magicians, everything to entertain Krishna as this guest of honor. Krishna understood his motivation. He didn't go. Instead, he went to the house of his disciple, Vidura, and he knocked on the door, and Vidura wasn't home, but his wife came and answered the door, and she saw Krishna. Oh my God, Krishna's here. She wanted to give Krishna something. So she ran into the kitchen, got some bananas, but in her enthusiasm to serve Krishna, she was peeling the bananas, throwing the banana away, giving Krishna the peel. And Krishna was eating the peel one after another. He was accepting her bhakti. So, yeah. So we try to do everything in the nicest way, but if the intention is what Krishna's, they're trying to please me, they're trying to do something nice. So that's bhakti. So in the material world, there's always something can go wrong, according to, and then everything is spoiled. Relationships break up because even though a person has good intentions, the results were not good. You see the difference? So it's not that we don't try to do good to others, but we should know that if you want to help someone, bring them to Krishna. And then then that's the best thing you can do for a person. Give them a chance come closer to Krishna. And that's because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for that happiness. They're looking for that relationship. So if we connect them with Krishna, that's the best service we can do. Because they can find everything they're looking for in life through serving the Lord. And then they become happy, they become peaceful, they become free from anxiety. So doing good to others means actually give them a chance to come to Krishna consciousness. Does that help?
Yes, Maharaj. Can I ask a follow-up?
Yeah.
So, devotees who are senior than us, who have more experience of Krishna than we have, how can we serve in a way that benefits them getting closer to Krishna if, like, they're closer to Krishna than us?
Well, you want to bring someone who's already connected to Krishna closer to Krishna. Is that it?
Because that's what you said, that's the best way to help someone, that's the best way to serve.
Well, Prabhupada, actually it's Srila Rupa Goswami, explains in Nectar of Instructions, there are 6 loving exchanges between devotees. He said, I have established these temples in order to facilitate these 6 loving exchanges. And what are they? To open one's mind confidentially, to share one's confidential thoughts, to give a gift, to receive a gift, to give prasadam, to accept prasadam. These are the 6 loving exchanges between Vaishnava and Prabhupada said we should practice these loving exchanges regularly. Well, that's how we interact with devotees. Confidential thoughts, maybe just speaking about Krishna to another person, or helping them in their practice of Krishna consciousness. That becomes a loving exchange. Giving gifts, we do that. Sometimes we find opportunities. There's one girl, and she's in Denver, Colorado. She's a pujari. She has access to the Maha. So she takes the Maha, and she goes out and makes little bags with some little bit of Maha in each bag. And she finds people she can give the Maha to. She does it every day. She carries little pocketbooks too, and then she'll meet someone. She'll say, oh, this is for you. That's what she does. That's her service. She does that more. She spends more time doing that than her pujari work. Because she likes to serve others. So she finds ways by giving it. She goes out sometimes for book distribution, or she gives someone a book and just tells them a little bit about the book. She's always happy because she's always finding someone to give something to. The greatest happiness is to make another person happy. You try to be happy by your own efforts, sometimes you miss it. But if you make someone else happy, of course, different ways we can do that. Then you'll find there's a happiness that you automatically feel by making another person. That's called love. Love means to try to do something that will benefit another person. Does that help? Good. Hare Krishna. Okay, I think I went a little bit over time. But thank you for staying. And I think we should maybe end here. There also is breakfast for everyone, right? Prabhupada ki jai.